Ella stood there, frozen, her hand trembling as the phone slipped from her fingers onto the cold marble floor of the upscale restaurant. It wasn't the kind of call anyone expected to hear. A soft, unmistakable whisper in flawless Mandarin, a language she didn't understand, coming from a booth occupied by a man whose power seemed to fill the entire room without effort. The millionaire reclined casually, his expensive watch catching the dim light. But it was the quiet urgency in that voice, the single word barely spoken but hanging heavy in the air, that cracked everything open. No one else heard it. No one else reacted. Only Ella, the black waitress who had just answered the call, caught that fragment of an unseen world. And then, just like that, she vanished. Not in the way you imagine, like a sudden disappearance, but as if she had never existed, erased from every camera, every witness, every memory, except yours. The other servers pretended not to notice. The patrons stayed glued to their meals, and the millionaire's smile never faltered. But you felt it too. That sharp, sinking feeling in your gut, like you've stumbled on a secret too dangerous to speak aloud. Something about Ella's eyes when she looked back at you before she stepped outside. A flicker of warning or desperation, impossible to decipher in that fleeting moment. The kind of moment that shatters your sense of reality because it asks a question no one else dares to ask. How do you vanish when the whole world is watching? And what did that whisper mean? The one that almost pulled her into a silence deeper than death. In this city full of wealth and noise, where fortunes are made and lost with a handshake, something rotten and incomprehensible simmers just beneath the surface. Ella's disappearance is just the beginning. Because once you hear the whisper, once you catch the faint echo of a language that doesn't belong to this place or time, there's no going back to the comfort of ignorance. You might want to close this now, to pretend it was a trick of your mind, but the truth is already crawling, under your skin, tangled in shadows where no one dares to look. And somewhere just out of sight, someone is waiting for you to ask the question that will change everything. The question lingered, heavy and corrosive. Who was waiting for you to ask it? But before you could gather the courage to even whisper it in your own mind, the edges of everything around Ella began to blur, like a dream dissolving at dawn. The night of her disappearance wasn't supposed to feel like this. A fragmented loop playing on repeat inside your head, where every detail is just out of reach, slipping through your fingers like smoke. You start to wonder if what you saw was ever real at all. Maybe it was the heat, the long shift grinding down your nerves, or the exhaustion twisting your senses. The whisper, the vanishing. Was it a crack in reality or just a symptom of something deeper? Something fractured inside you? There's a name that keeps surfacing in the back of your mind, but every time you try to hold on to it, it slips away, like a missing frame from a home video. The restaurant's security footage arrives days later, but the segment where Ella vanished is gone. Not corrupted, not deleted by accident, erased, meticulously erased, as if someone wanted that moment scrubbed clean from existence. Yet in a hidden corner of your phone, an audio clip you don't remember recording pulses quietly. It's warped, almost unrecognizable, but beneath the static, a voice speaks. It isn't Ella's. It's colder, distant, almost mechanical, whispering phrases that make your skin crawl. Phrases you can't understand, but somehow know you're not supposed to hear. Then there's Nathan. You met him the day after Ella disappeared. A guy with a calm voice that somehow unsettles you. A stranger who insists he saw the whole thing, except his version is completely different. According to him, Ella left calmly, like nothing happened. No whisper, no vanishing act. Just a normal girl clocking out for the night. But something about Nathan doesn't sit right. His eyes dart too quickly, and when he smiles, it doesn't reach the truth buried somewhere beneath. You want to believe him, but his story feels rehearsed. Too neat, like a script forced down your throat. Is he here to help you? Or to keep you from digging too deep? The lines between ally and threat dissolve with every conversation. You catch yourself replaying every moment alone, the whispered words, the erased footage, Nathan's vague answers, and the more you dig, more the world distorts. Your memories fracture, familiar faces blur. Even your own reflection seems like a stranger's. Is this a real unsolved mystery, or the truth behind what no one tells you? A truth so terrifying they want you to forget? You feel the creeping weight of paranoia settle in, a slow burning fear that what you're experiencing might not just be about Ella anymore. It might be about you, and what they don't want you to remember. And as the silence stretches, one chilling thought claws at your mind. Maybe the most dangerous disappearances aren't the ones you see, but the ones you forget. For a fleeting moment, it all made sense. You found the thread, a hidden folder, buried deep in the server, labeled simply Ella. Inside, a series of encrypted messages and grainy images that matched what you remembered, a timeline that stitched together her last hours with chilling precision. You traced every step, every whispered syllable, every vanished second. There it was, and the truth uncovered, the puzzle solved, or so you thought. The files told a story of shadowed deals, of power wielded quietly in the back rooms of that sleek restaurant where Ella worked, a place where millionaires dined and secrets were currency. The recordings hinted at a message passed in a language nobody understood, a code that unlocked something dark and hidden, and the way Ella's name vanished from every record suggested an erasure far beyond a simple firing. You felt the rush of victory, that intoxicating lift that comes when the fog parts, and you finally glimpsed the outline of what was once lost. But then the detail you never noticed before stabbed through the veil like a jagged shard. A grainy photograph buried among the files, one frame you'd overlooked in your rush. The image showed a woman standing at the same restaurant's back entrance, but this wasn't Ella. It was someone else, a face you recognize but can't place, twisted by time yet hauntingly familiar, eyes hollow, expression frozen in terror. You realize with a cold, sickening certainty that this moment isn't just a repeat. It's a replay of a nightmare you thought was buried long ago, a memory glitch you'd long pushed into the dark corners of your mind. The woman isn't just a stranger, she is you, or someone you once were. And this wasn't the first time this vanished girl had been erased from existence, not by a scandal or by fate, but by something much more insidious. The past crashes forward, raw and jagged, the long-forgotten night you walked out of a different restaurant after a similar strange encounter. The muffled voices, the phone call that never rang again, the face in the crowd that disappeared without a trace. You feel the echo of fear you tried to forget, the feeling of being watched, hunted by a force so silent it's almost a presence inside your own head. And that force has been watching from the very beginning, tethered to the whispered words that shattered Ella's world and now claw at yours. It's not something you can see or name. It doesn't move in shadows or make noise. It invades your thoughts, twisting memories until you question if any of it was ever real. It's a weight pressing on your chest, a cold breath on the back of your neck, the terrible sense that the lines between reality and nightmare have blurred so completely that neither can be trusted. And then, just when you think you can hold onto the fragments of your sanity, you notice it. A detail so small it almost slips by unnoticed. In the corner of that same photo, behind the terrified woman who looks so much like you, there's a figure, blurry but unmistakable. The millionaire, the man from the restaurant. His smile is wide, but it's a smile that doesn't reach his. And in that smile is a promise this isn't over, not by a long shot. Suddenly, every scene, every whispered word, every missing second feels like it's been rewritten, recast under a darker light. You're forced to question everything you thought you knew, the truth, your memories, even your own mind. This revelation doesn't just demand answers. It forces you to rewatch every moment from the beginning, to search for the clues you missed, the lies you were told, because the real story was hidden all along. And you're not crazy. They lied to you. The unsettling truth clawed at you with a ferocity you couldn't ignore. You were never alone. The disappearance of Ella, your fractured memories, the cryptic messages hidden in corners of digital shadows. These were threads woven into a far, larger tapestry, one that was being observed not just by the quiet billionaire with his cold smile, but by others like you. You aren't the only one caught in this web. Others exist, scattered across cities and states. Some buried beneath layers of denial, others silently watching, waiting. It's as if an invisible broadcast has been beamed directly into the cracks of your consciousness, into dreams you didn't realize you shared. Strange symbols flicker behind your eyelids when you close them. Geometric patterns that pulse with a rhythm no one else seems to notice, but that speak directly to something buried deep inside. You try to dismiss it as fatigue, but it persists, insistent, as if coded messages have been sent across your sleep and waking hours alike, waiting for you to decode the language only those caught in this silent conspiracy can understand. And it's not just dreams. You begin to see signs, graffiti in unfamiliar neighborhoods, black and white flyers slipped under your door with nothing but a strange emblem and a date, a string of numbers that feels like a countdown. Messages embedded in the hum of background, noise, static bursts on old radios, subtle glitches in news broadcasts that vanish when you rewind. It's as if there's a secret dialogue unfolding right under the surface of the everyday, between unseen parties communicating in a cipher so delicate it bends the mind. You remember hearing about found footage from 20 years ago, videos the government never released, hidden archives that spoke of disappearances like Ella's, voices silenced and memories erased, and you realize with a cold certainty that what you're living now is a modern echo of those buried horrors, the same dark thread pulling you in, the same invisible hand rewriting reality for those unfortunate enough to glimpse it. The deeper you fall into this abyss, the more your grip on identity begins to falter. Who are you in this vast design? Are your memories yours at all, or implanted fragments crafted to keep you complacent? You catch yourself wondering if the person staring back in the mirror is the real you, or just a shadow cast by forces beyond comprehension. There's a pervasive dread that you are not in control, that the mind itself is a battleground where memories are weapons, and sanity is a fragile currency that can be stripped away at will. The lines between observer and participant blur as you sense that your thoughts are being monitored, your emotions nudge toward fear and confusion. This is not coincidence, it is orchestration. You were right all along to question what everyone else accepts without hesitation. The system that erases Ella also erases parts of you, a slow bleed masked by everyday normalcy. And still, no one talks about it. It's the truth behind what no one wants you to remember. Then, out of the haze emerges a new voice, a perspective that cuts through the smog of doubt like a knife. Not yours, not Nathan's, not the silent billionaire's, but someone else. The observer who seems detached yet intimately connected, the only one who may be telling the truth. Their presence is felt in fragmented transmissions, scattered recordings buried in forums few dare visit. They speak in riddles, cautioning that the watchers have always been here, hidden in plain sight, and that the conspiracy is far older and more insidious than anyone imagined. Their words drip with urgency and weariness, hinting at a centuries-old cycle of manipulation, a game where identity is fluid and reality is a stage rigged from the start. They warn that this force is not supernatural but psychological, a living system that feeds on fear and control, twisting lives into echoes of forgotten tragedies. Every detail you've uncovered is just a glimpse, a sliver of a vast, dark machine churning beneath the surface of society. As the days blur into restless nights, you feel yourself becoming part of this hidden network, a reluctant participant, in a conspiracy that stretches beyond any individual story. The cryptic symbols, the shared dreams, the erased footage, they are pieces of a puzzle that will never fully come together, but that demand your attention with an unrelenting pull. The observer's final message lingers in your mind like a shadow. They've been watching since before you were born. Every step you take is already known. The question is not if you can escape, but if you even want to. The line between protector and predator dissolves into the dark, leaving you suspended in a liminal space where memory, identity, and control dissolve into a haunting question with no answer. And as you reach the edge of understanding, the story twists once more, forcing you to question every moment, every whisper, every vanished second. The truth is out there, just out of reach, waiting for you to realize that this isn't just Ella's story or yours. It's a shared nightmare that was never meant to be uncovered. And now, you're part of it. The weight of everything pressed down on you like a storm you'd been running from your whole life. The questions, the erased memories, the silent watchers, the endless whispers in your mind. But suddenly, the mystery wasn't about what had happened anymore. It was about why it had happened. Why Ella vanished, why your memories fractured, why this invisible force clawed through your identity with cold precision. It was about the raw, unspoken truth of what it means to be human, fragile, terrified, and desperate for meaning in a world that seems designed to unravel us. In this moment, you stand face to face with a terrible choice: to surrender to the shattering truth that threatens to annihilate everything you thought you were, or to cling to the fragile illusion of control, hoping it will save you from the darkness lurking just beneath. And then the confession comes, not from a stranger but from within, a voice you buried deep, trembling and raw, breaking through the fog. You realize that part of you wanted this all along, the unraveling, the reckoning, the chance to see through the lies, even if it meant facing unbearable pain. Because hiding, in shadows, pretending nothing is wrong, was its own kind of prison. You were trapped by your own silence, by the fear of confronting a truth that might burn you alive or set you free. This is no longer a story of lost identities or vanished girls. It's a story of survival, of wrestling with the darkness inside, of understanding that sometimes the hardest battle is simply being honest with yourself. The world around you shifts, no longer a stage of conspiracies but a mirror reflecting your own fears and desires. The Watchers, they are part of us. The doubts that gnaw at your soul, the memories you don't dare trust, the questions no one else dares ask. And in this terrifying awakening, you realize the truth is never neat or complete. It's a living thing, a flickering flame that illuminates some parts of your soul while casting others into deeper shadows. There's no clear path forward, only the choice to walk into the unknown, aware that every step might break you or rebuild you anew. And as the moment stretches into silence, you feel the weight of all the stories yet untold, the secrets still, hidden in plain sight, the thin line between madness and clarity. This is not an ending. It is a beginning, an invitation to wake from the dream you didn't know you were in, to peer deeper into the darkness, to hold your breath and step beyond what you think you know. Thank you for watching. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for stories you were never meant to hear. Until next time, remember, some truths don't want to be found.